Jack Howell, Covington Police Department. Last night around 5:20, our officers responded to a disturbance call initially at Dean's Tax Service. About 5:22, the call was upgraded to an armed party with hostages. Officers arrived. Once on scene, about 30 minutes later, an employee and her daughter was able to escape from Dean's Tax Service. That time, negotiations began because he still had another hostage inside. Negotiations continued till about 12:39 a.m. this morning when he stopped all contact. During the time of the negotiations, he'd said numerous times that he was going to kill her, made notations to family members that nobody was getting out of their lives tonight. I'm going to end it with that, and I'm going to let Sheriff Beasley take over, okay?
Good morning, Sheriff Shannon Beasley. So we were called to assist Chief Howell and his police department, the Covington Police Department, at the hostage situation here this yesterday evening. We got on scene probably about 5:30. At about 7:40 p.m., our hostage negotiation team and SWAT team made scene. Negotiations started with our suspect. Throughout the evening, those negotiations continued until about 12:40 this morning. They were on and off, mostly because of, or mainly because the suspect would hang up, or he would take a phone call from someone else and come back to us. So until about 12:40 this morning, at which point he ceased all communication with us. We continued trying to make contact. I think it was over 200 more phone calls that we made to the suspect, trying to make and establish a communication line with him. As those became non-existent communication anymore, we then started introducing a chemical agent into the building, trying to push the suspect at least to let the hostage go, and if not, at least get the suspect himself out as well. Those attempts also did not prove positive for us. We then had to allow our SWAT team to go in and attempt a rescue operation of the hostage, at which time, just shortly after entering the building, the suspect fired multiple rounds and shot one of our deputies, SWAT team members. That deputy, I'm glad to say, is at the med currently. Just got an update on him. He is out of surgery. Seems to be doing well. So our thoughts and prayers are with him. Our thoughts and prayers are with the female victim this evening. And our thoughts and prayers are even with the suspect's family. It's a tough situation all the way around, no matter what side you're on. It just wasn't good for her family, and it wasn't a good day for law enforcement either, in Covington and Tipton County. So at this point, I think we'll open it up for any questions that you may have.
Sheriff, are you identifying?
No, we're not identifying anyone just yet. We will later on this afternoon in some press releases, but right now we want to make sure that all the family on every side has been notified before we release any names.
Was this just a domestic dispute that spiraled out of control?
I'm sorry?
A domestic dispute that spiraled?
Right, I believe it's a domestic situation. Right, yeah, domestic situation. As you said, it spiraled out of control.
Can you tell us how many people were inside, how many hostages there were inside?
Originally, there were 3 hostages inside. As Chief Howell spoke just a few minutes ago, 2 of those hostages, a lady and a young child, were able to escape out the front door. The door had been locked by the suspect, but he had gotten far enough away from her that she felt comfortable enough that they had officers right out. The Covington Police Department had some officers right outside the door there. She felt comfortable enough to unlock the door, and she and I'm assuming it was her son at that time escaped.
Forgive me if you've already said this, but was the suspect shot as well?
The suspect is deceased. Yes.
What were the suspect's demands when you guys were talking from
through the negotiations, there weren't really any demands other than he said several times that no one was going to leave here alive tonight. and he threatened officers multiple times, said, hey, just come through the door and I'm going to shoot you when you get here. So there were really no demands other than he just was not letting the hostage go, and he wasn't obviously going to let law enforcement enter the building.
And the employee, is she okay too? What's her condition?
The employee right now is actually at the hospital, and as far as we know, we were able to help assist her out to the ambulance this morning. So she walked out pretty much on her own free will and accord. So I think she's doing okay. I'm sure she's very mentally distraught right now.
Sheriff, do you consider this to be best? It's not best case scenario. We want everyone to walk out, of course, alive. How do you bring this? You know, because one person is dead, but the victim survived. So how do you bring this?
You know, as I said a while ago, it's for families on all three sides, the officer, the victim, and the suspect. It's a terrible situation. So our thoughts and prayers are with every family. In a hostage situation, our main goal is to make sure that the hostage victim is released safely. It was very apparent tonight that that wasn't going to happen if the suspect had his way. The suspect, as I said, shot one of our officers when they made the initial entry to try to rescue the hostage. It caused us to have to go into rescue mode, get the officer out of the building, and get him the medical attention that he needed. So we had to reestablish, and then we tried to reestablish communication again. Those attempts were not positive as well, right, exactly. And at some point, the suspect did come out of the back room that he had been holed up in for several hours. Our sniper was able to get a good shot on the suspect, and was able to shoot the suspect.
One shot?
From the
You
sniper.
heard several rounds, but one from the sniper.
Right. There were other rounds once the SWAT team went in to check his status. As the victim came out, she had confirmed that the suspect had been shot, but she was too distraught to give us any information as to his actual condition. The SWAT team went in, and again, the suspect was still alive at that point, and more shots were fired.
What was the initial